A golden quest, eh? It actually gave me smolder, lol. Ah. Alright. All of the units. Yeah, see, it does reset. Okay, cool. So I got a Reforger. A Radiant Decor. Alright. Let's see what our emblems are first, and then we can go from there. That's not bad, I think. So as you just saw, set 12 is bringing some crazy new augments that function much like the Econ traits, like Fortune in set 11, Heartsteel in set 10, or Piltover in set 9. Now this is great because each TFT set can now have multiple different versions of Econ traits like we have in set 12. You have the standard Fortune playstyle, rewards for playing as many traits as possible, and a quest with a massive cash out. This adds an entire new level of depth to the high stakes playstyle because now there's different flavors. However, the presence of these augments prohibits the concurrent existence of these Econ traits, and now there is no consistent way to play the high stakes playstyle because the traits are gone. So going forward in TFT, it may be one or the other in each set because they cannot coexist, and now there's no guarantee that an Econ trait will be in each set like in set 12. But is that necessarily a bad thing? What are the other consequences of this Econ transition, and how will the future of Econ augments transform? But what's certainly bad is missing out on the juicy set 12 content I've got planned. I'm currently working on some wacky reroll guides and an in-depth explanation on how durability or damage reduction works in TFT and what that means for tanks. So make sure you subscribe for what's to come. But now let's discuss the blessings that these augments bring. The first of which is the depth and variance between them. Each augment is a completely different playstyle and your games with them are entirely different. I mean, even if you do get the same augment, the outcome will also vary due to different cash outs. Especially with Trait Tracker, as there are so many permutations of emblems you could get. This is genuinely so fun and brings so much more repeatability to the cash outs. I remember back in set 9 that you almost always played Piltover into Zeri Gunner. The linearity of previous cash out traits has been incredibly bland for me, which is due to the nature of conserving as much econ and gold as possible in the early game and trying to buy as many legendaries as possible once you've cashed out. So naturally you never really play around low cost units. But now with these augments you can actually play around and even re-roll those low cost units. That's actually such a big improvement. But that is also due to the freedom you have with the units you play, as these augments are not tied to anything, you just need the augment. And removing the Fortune-esque trait provides more room for other traits and units to exist. In set 11, Timo, Kobaku and Annie effectively only had one trait, and so you could go a long time without considering the possibility of playing these units. But now these types of units no longer exist, and you can literally do and play whatever you want and it feels great. But the freedom doesn't stop there. While there's currently only 4 of these cash out augments, that's just for now. This format and structure allows for many more to exist. There can easily be 10 to 20 of these types of augments existing with their own different and unique flair. Like an augment where once you've 2-starred and fielded 1 1-cost unit, 2 2-cost units, and 3 3-cost units, you're granted 4 4-cost units. That could work, right? There is so much potential with these augments, especially when you consider at which point of the game they can be offered. For example, 2-1 augments can offer much riskier or contorting augments that completely transform that specific game. However, 3-2 augments probably can't be that warping because it's getting kinda late for players to pivot their playstyle. But even though it's extremely late, it's still possible for these types of augments to exist at 4-2. I mean, they already did before set 12, and you're probably already familiar with that augment, which is Golden Egg. With Golden Egg, you risk being down an entire prismatic augment and losing a ton of HP, but if you cash out, you get massive rewards that usually win you the game. While Golden Egg is a cash out type augment, it's slightly different because you want a win streak to cash out sooner. And while I want to say that more augments like Golden Egg could exist, that's actually not the case at all. Golden Egg is one of the highest risk and reward augments that currently exist in TFT, and having multiple augments of similar power being offered at 4-2 and being prismatic is not healthy for the game. Just imagine how warping it could be if multiple players had one of these cash out augments in your game. They would help each other cash out because they're equally weak, and once they do, they would turbo stomp the lobby as they have so much more board power than everyone else. This would turn 4-2 prismatic augments into a complete lottery that you dread because you may not get the cash out augment. Realistically, in terms of prismatics at 4-2, Golden Egg is the only cash out augment that should exist, and I believe that also applies to silver and gold augments as well. Gold and silver augments have much lower and average base power than prismatics, and so any 4-2 cash out augments would be disproportionately stronger because you will eventually cash out and break through the power ceiling of silver and gold augments. Prismatic augments are the only rarity that can actually reasonably punish players for taking the cash out augments at 4-2. I know I've taken golden egg multiple times at 4-2 and died before seeing the cash out, but that wouldn't happen for silver or gold augments. So all in all, these cash out augments can't really exist at 4-2 outside of golden egg, but that doesn't negate how much replayability these augments bring as they transform the early game, which also drastically affects the late game. However, that's only if you get one of these augments. If you're not lucky and you don't get offered any of these augments, then you just can't play the Fortune playstyle. And for those who enjoy being able to consistently and reliably play this way, you can't do that in set 12. And that may be true for future sets that have augments like this. Your augment RNG will now gatekeep you and your fun. Like, sure, there's many different flavors of Fortune now, but how often are you able to taste that flavor? If you're someone who only really plays once every so often and you just want to chase that Fortune high, then this set isn't really for you. And that sucks because it alienates a portion of the player base. But that's not all. These augments actually introduce a very big problem. With these cash outs being in the augment system and players getting 3 augments a game, what happens if you get more than one of these cash out augments? Like Fortune favors the bold into Golden Egg or Golden Quest. If you already cashed out your first augment, you're already significantly ahead, which easily allows you to cash out successive augments. I don't even know how to quantify how far ahead multiple of these augments will put you. In this game I played, my opponent cashed out 2 radiant items from the Fortune augment, which is equivalent to 2 prismatic augments, like 2, what's it called? Similarly, Golden Rule gave them Seraph 2 and 3 tailored items to him, which I personally approximate to also be worth 2 prismatic augments. The items granted are at least similar to Blinding Speed, but the fact that they're tailored to the 2-star legendary is insanely valuable. So in my opinion, this combination puts you way ahead by like 3 prismatic augments, which is just something else. And I can't even begin to fathom what would happen if you open with Fortune Favors the Bold and then get Golden Egg. I feel like the only thing that could beat you at that point is a 3-star 5 cost. Regardless, the fact that this is possible certainly feels like a massive oversight on Riot's part, and while it is incredibly fun to be the player with that combination, it's incredibly insurmountable for your opponents to play against. You just can't do anything into it. The game boils down to matchmaking RNG, and placements are decided by how many times you've rotated into the player with triple your board strength. But maybe I'm still emotionally distraught from getting slaughtered in this game. I don't think so, but let me know what you think. Am I completely wrong for feeling this way? Right now, I'm kinda torn. I actually do love these augments because they bring so much with them, maybe a little too much. But I don't know how much I miss the Fortune trait themselves. I only ever played Fortune if I opened with the Fortune units, which is just like the new augment system. If I get offered a Fortune augment at 2-1, I'll just take it. So I imagine this change is positive or doesn't affect most players, but it would be really bad for those who love forcing Fortune. Thus, this is another decision that Riot need to make, and I'm curious on how they weigh the player base and which side they'll err. But on that note, let me pass over some questions to you guys. What do you think about these Fortune augments? Is this playstyle better represented as augments? Will future sets keep them or go back to traits? And what do you think about receiving multiple of these augments? Let me know in the comments, and remember to subscribe. Anyway, check out these other videos if you want to see more from me. And of course, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.